Back in 2021, I didn't have a job. I had a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. I'd sent out 612 job applications and had no replies. That all changed when I shifted my job search strategy to what I'm about to share with you. In this video, I'm gonna explain why the job strategy most new graduates follow is completely wrong, what you should do instead to actually hear back from companies, and how I got hired as an engineer despite having less than 6 months of actual work experience. To explain this though, I want to compare it to TV. See, back in 1980, there were only 28 TV channels. Now there are hundreds. You have so many options, but still nobody likes cable. I'm sure you watching this right now probably don't pay for cable. It sucks. The shows aren't good and there's too many commercials. It doesn't matter how many options you can pick from if they're all bad. This is what it's like for a hiring manager when they post a job. Yeah, they might get hundreds of applicants, but that doesn't mean they'll give money to any of them. They aren't required to pick anybody. It's not like a competition where there has to be a winner. They only want to hire someone if they're a great fit. If they can't find that, they'd rather hire no one because hiring people is expensive. That's why spamming your application out is just a bad strategy. You're like cable, trying to create tons more channels instead of just perfecting one good show. So when I was applying for jobs, I got very specific. I looked for a role that paid at least $2,000 a month, had the same weekly schedule, no night shift work or odd hours, had no travel, no living with my coworkers. It's a story for another video. Where I could live in Charlotte, Raleigh, or work remote. I didn't want to live in the middle of nowhere because I was single at the time. I found a job that met all those criteria. It's called a solar designer, someone who designs the layout of solar panels on people's homes. You might be thinking that's great, you narrowed down what you want, but how do you actually get those people to reply to your resume? Well, I did some more research to solve that problem. I went on Indeed and found a bunch of jobs with the title solar designer or PV designer and looked at the job requirements. I noticed the same handful of phrases kept popping up over and over again. While one or two jobs might say, we want you to have permitting experience or we want you to have a master's degree, nearly all of them said we want you to be a problem solver, be detail-oriented, and have technical skill. I had a list of the few common traits they were all looking for. These were most important to a potential employer. Then I edited my resume so every line in it related back to one of those traits. I wrote how I took initiative to make a 21-step checklist for a task in my last job because they said they wanted someone who was a problem solver. I didn't write that I'd just fix machines. I wrote that I would troubleshoot mechanical, electrical, and software problems because they said they wanted someone detail-oriented. And I listed out the specific names of programs I'd learned because they wanted someone with technical skill. Knowing the specific names of tools I'd used was a small way to show that. And I removed anything that didn't relate to what they were looking for, such as a web design portfolio I made and an Amazon store I used to run. But that's not all I did. Every employer dreams of finding someone with 8 years of experience working for a company identical to theirs. So I had to do even more to stand out. I wrote a personalized email to the hiring manager explaining how I'd be a good fit. I wrote that I knew how to give technical support because I did it at my last job. That I didn't have AutoCAD experience, but I had used SolidWorks. They're pretty much the same. And that I knew they use their own proprietary software. Luckily, I can learn that kind of thing in no time. I picked up video editing to professional level in only a few months. They hired me within a week. So if you watching this have any questions about this strategy, type it out in a comment. I can't say I'll reply to all of them because I won't always be doing this, but for the next 6 months, I'll reply to every single comment.